Good morning, students. Welcome to video 1 of our distance learning. That's not a very good well. I want to go ahead and thank all of you that responded to my questions that I posted in the Google Classroom stream. First off, I want to let you know that these are called forum questions. A lot of college professors use forum questions. When college professors use them, they don't just want the student to answer the question. They want the student to respond to their peers, very much like we ask you guys to respond to each other when you're discussing in class. So as we continue on, I'm going to be posting questions still, and I want to encourage you guys to use your accountable talk. I agree. I disagree. Adding on to what Myra said, use those accountable talk stems as you're discussing with each other in the forums. I think that's a really fun way for us to communicate and to keep our brains from totally frying while we're on our own. Instead of just pushing out the text and the questions, I thought maybe a little lecture video would make things a little more interesting. Now, what I need you to understand, I am not Mr. Himmler, our favorite bald bearded guy who compared President James Monroe to a dog with a full bladder. That dog peeing on the Western Hemisphere, looking at Europe saying,
"Hey, this here tree's mine, come at me."
Y'all remember that guy? I am not him. He's been doing this for a really long time, and he knows how to do the video editing stuff, and he knows how to be crazy. I'm not him. So be a little gracious and patient with my videos, as cheesy as they may be. I'm trying to make this interesting for you. Let's talk about how you can do this stuff at home. Even if you don't have internet access, most of you have cell phones, but you have not downloaded the apps that you need to get the work done. So, app number 1, you're gonna need Google Classroom. When you get the Google Classroom app, it's gonna prompt you to log in. All you have to do is log in as if you're logging into your Chromebook. Magic. So easy. Once you've logged in, you can change the notification settings so that it gives you a notification every time I post something or update the stream. That way you don't miss out on anything. You're always getting notifications when things change on Google Classroom. The second app you're going to need is Google Docs. We're probably going to use both of these quite a bit. Have those two just to be safe. When you get Google Docs, you're going to need to log into it the same way you logged into Google Classroom. So again, it's easy. All right, what we're going to be doing this week. This week, I wanted to shift our focus just a little bit. So I have a question. I want you to stop and think about the 3 branches of government. 1, 2, 3. Think about it. What are the 3 branches of government? Think about it for just a second. What are they? Now that you have your answers, the 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, and judicial branch. Before we move forward, can you remember what person or group is in power in each of these branches? So the legislative branch of government is run by Congress, which again, that's made up of 2 houses. It's a bicameral legislature, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The executive branch is run by the president. He is our executive. And the judicial branch is run by the Supreme Court. So this week we're going to be looking at Supreme Court cases. We've already looked at one Supreme Court case. Do you remember looking at Marbury versus Madison? Probably not. Let me remind you. So we looked at Marbury versus Madison the day the internet went down, and we actually took old school notes. I typed them on the Promethean. Most of you jotted them on a sheet of paper. I think second block was the only block that didn't do that. Then at the end of the third 9 weeks, you guys were turning stuff in. You're like, oh, what's Marbury versus Madison? That's what it was. Marbury versus Madison established something called judicial review. Judicial review is simple. It's the ability for the Supreme Court to look at a law or an act passed and say whether it is or isn't constitutional. Is this an okay law to have? Is it not an okay law to have? That is what Marbury versus Madison did in a nutshell. This week, we're going to talk about 3 new Supreme Court cases. The first one is going to be Gibbons versus Ogden, which happened in 1824. Now, if you recall, Unit 5 was supposed to bring us from 1820 to about 1860. We were tightening that scope, remember, from Unit 4 to Unit 5. We were just getting a little more focused into the Civil War. This first Supreme Court case that we're going to look at this week actually falls into that Unit 5 timeline. The next Supreme Court case we're going to look at is Plessy versus Ferguson, which happened in 1896, going beyond that frame that we were looking at for Unit 5. The last one we are going to look at is much more modern, Brown versus the Board of Education, which happened in 1954. These cases are considered to be very important to learn because it changes the way our government is run, and the Supreme Court made calls and decisions that impacted us for decades and decades and years to come. So that's why we're going to be studying them this week. I also want to tell you, I hate being away from you guys. As much as it might feel like a break, I know you got to be getting stir crazy not being allowed to go anywhere or see anyone. So know that I love you guys so much and I'm thinking of you all the time. And it's okay to write something on one of my forums if you just need to check in with me or a friend. Your teachers are working so hard at doing everything we can to get everything you need ready. Be patient with us as we try to navigate this super crazy thing called distance learning. We've never done it before, just like you've never done it before. But that doesn't mean we're not going to be great at it, because we so will. All right, guys, take care. I love you. Be good. And I hope you learn a little bit of something from what we're doing this week. Welcome to video 1. So, let me explain what this is going to look like for you. Instead of just pushing out the texts and the questions, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, that was bad. Okay. It is Plessy versus the board. It was Brown versus the Board of